Before we start, I want to tell everyone about my new upload schedule. Today is the first installment of Tutorial Tuesday. Instead of letting your horn sit around, you can pick it up and learn some meme music. Check back on my channel for some more tutorials on Tuesdays.
Leave your entries in the subreddit pros, and I'll watch submissions in the next episode.
I have a link to the sheet music in the description if you want to print it out before we begin. As you can see, I have all the different instruments, all the different band instruments. If you want to print out this sheet of music and just read the line that matches your instrument. So the flutes would read the C, piano would read that, alto, saxophone, bari saxophone would read the E flat instruments, and trumpets and clarinets would read the B flat instruments. But for instruments like the tenor sax, you might have to take some of this up octave. For the trumpet, this low C at the start would be right in the right range, but for tenor sax it would probably be too low. And then you have the French horns with the F instruments. Some of it might be a little too high for beginning fresh French horn players. You might have to take like the high up here down an octave. So the key is different than the original. The original is set right about here. So let me play this to begin. So this is the original. Okay, but I put it down in concert E flat. There we go. The key at E flat concert, because I thought that would be more comfortable, and it would, the most amount of players would be able to play it. Okay. What better place to start than measure one? So this is not measure one. This is a pickup. This is measure one. So I have this thingy over here to where I can make the tempo and I can bring it back down. So we're going to start about 50% tempo, so that'll be 55 beats a minute. And the first measure is pretty straightforward. So we're going to look. We got the pickup on 4, so it'll be 4 and 1. So the first two notes are just your concert B flat, and then the next note is a concert G. So for the trombone, euphonium, tuba, trumpet, you're probably going to miss that interval your first time. That's a sixth from a B flat to a G. So just make sure that you're going all the way up to that concert G and not playing, say, a concert D. So listen to this first little skip. So when we're practicing, we're just going to keep it down about 50% tempo. I've got it at 55 beats a minute. Okay. So you'll just sort of drill through the first measure a few times. So let's go ahead. I'll play it, and you play along with it. 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's as far as we're going to go to begin with. Let's do that one more time. 1, 2, 3. So when you get that down, we'll move on to the next measure. With measure 2, it can be a little tricky to get into. We're going to start by looking at this tie right here. So for now, I want you to just ignore it. We're going to start on beat 3, and I'll give you the counts. So turn here, it'll be 3 and 4 and then on the downbeat of 1, it'll be 1 E and 3 and 4 and 1 E and. So that's without the tie. So we're going to play it a few times without the tie, and then we'll add the tie in a minute. Okay, that'll just give you sort of an understanding of the subdivision behind that tie. Because it doesn't come in on the downbeat of 1, it just makes it a little confusing. So now I'll put the tie back, and we'll start on the downbeat of 3. So now it'll be 3 and 4 and E and 3 and. Okay, now we'll start back at the top and play it that far. 2, 3. The next note comes in on the and of 2, and it's not very difficult with the rhythms, but the intervals are what it'll really trip you up through here. So just go through and we'll look at this concert E flat, jump into this concert B flat, and then it goes all the way down to a concert C. So just make sure that the interval skips, the different partials, or just the interval leaps are like how it sounds. So just drill that a couple times. And then we'll start back at the beginning and play that far. 2, 3. That takes us to the hardest part of the tune. Now, what makes this hard is not really the intervals on this one, but the rhythms are hard in particular. So if you think of the words that go along with the tune, it makes it a lot easier to comprehend the rhythms. So on the next episode of LWIAY, it's a lot easier for me to tell you those words rather than tell you and 2 E and 3 and E 1. But if the words don't help you, there's another way that you can learn this rhythm when you're playing stuff that doesn't have words to go along with it. So you can take these 8th notes and break them down into 16th notes and sort of play all the 16th notes, but then tie them back together. So I'll show you how to do that. So right now I'll change all these 8th notes to the end to 16th notes. So here it is. So before we had these two 16th notes that were inside of this 8th note. Same with this 8th note. Now we're just playing the 16th notes that were included in this 8th note. We've gotten rid of this tie that was with this, and then we have broken this 8th note down to 16th notes. So let's practice that. I'll give you 3, 4, 1, and then we'll be on it. 3, 4, 1. Okay, so you can just run that yourself a couple times, and then we'll add in the first sort of tie to get us closer to our original line here. So 3, 4, 1. And we'll just keep that going, adding the next one. 3, 4, 1. And then another one. 3, 4, 1. And our last one. 3, 4, 1. So as you can see, these 16th notes that are tied together sound the same as if they were just 8th notes. So if you just think of the subdivision that's below the note that you're dealing with, then you can get more precise, especially over here in the syncopated pattern. It helps you put the note right where it's supposed to be. Now I'll play it from the top at 50% tempo, 75% tempo, and 100%. 1, 2, 3. Okay. One thing I noticed was if you're playing a trumpet, this low D, make sure that you kick out the 3rd valve slide. Same thing for tuba, sort of. You don't hear that much as often, but that note is typically sharp. Now I'll bump the tempo up to 75%. 2, 3. And finally, at 100%. 1, 2, 3. And that's it. So that's the video. If you have any questions, just let me know in the comments and I'll get back to you. Check back next Tuesday for more videos just like this one. Thanks for watching.